Hey there guys, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Remake 2. So first off, I want to say this is not any official news or anything. This is just my own thoughts and discussion, but it should be an entertaining, insightful, and also enlightening video. So I hope you do enjoy after all. So let's get right into the content itself, which is Remake 2. What kind of changes are going to happen to the levels and map design? Now there's a big reason I bring this up. If you guys remember the original remaster for Resident Evil 1, in the first scene to the game, the iconic one where you enter the mansion and you get your first observation of the scenery, in the actual remaster, the entire room's layout was changed quite a little bit and it was expanded upon and made much larger. Now this was just a remaster, so it wasn't exactly a requirement for them, but other places also received a little bit of similar treatment. And you've got to remember that Remake 2 is a remake, it's not a remaster like the original, so let me just get that across, and I really want to get the perception across, so I'm not implying this is how it's going to be, but just imagine Remake 2 as almost an open world Far Cry game, but in Raccoon City. And I know a lot of people would really want that idea for sure, but I don't think that's happening, and it's just to get the point across though that a remake could have some drastic changes. And talking about Raccoon City, that's what I really want to talk about here, because we were talking about the map design and level changes, and we are in Raccoon City, so exactly what is going to change? I mean, if you consider the PlayStation 1's hardware for example, and you look at the city, I mean there's some points where you have to run down a block or something, and maybe like 15 zombies are chasing you at max, and it's pretty scary. It's almost like Resident Evil 2's version of the horde you see in RE5 and 6, but in that game of course you weren't supposed to go around killing everything, you were supposed to just avoid them and run down a predetermined path. Now with the additional hardware in the PC, this would allow you to put in a lot more zombies in the scenes in these hoarding environments, but also they could make the environments much more complex, larger and convoluted to add a whole new fresh experience even to people who are hardcore gamers of the Resident Evil franchise. But on top of that, they could add more zombies to these scenes to add to the complexity, the horror, and just the general thrill of having to escape from so many mindless foes. But like I said, considering modern hardware and the constraints of the PlayStation, it's no jump of logic to assume that the map and level design was very constrained and small, and you guys remember you could only see so far before it went black on the PlayStation 1. Well, we no longer have those constraints, so I do believe the remake will have some level of new creative artistic discretion there, and that the level design isn't going to be so strict, and I think a lot of people can be excited about that. I'm not saying we could be visiting new areas, that's a possibility, and that would really excite me. I'm just saying the current maps and levels that you expect from Resident Evil 2 might be really elaborated. But let's talk about that anyway. What about new areas? Because that is an entire possibility as well. We don't even know if there might be a new campaign, for example, which might almost entirely require a new area to be designed. That could be a really cool thing. I mean, honestly speaking, Raccoon City just has its own kind of little magical atmosphere. And talking about map design, they could really upgrade on that atmosphere, and this isn't so much to do with the map itself, but just take Resident Evil 7's amazing atmospheric ambience. Now that game nailed it perfectly. If you actually go and watch Resident Evil 2 again, you'll notice the lack of ambient noise in. Now the city has a beautiful atmosphere, as I said, the way it all looks and is designed is just astonishing. But imagine having a car driving in the distance every so often at high speed, hearing it crash, hearing screams in the distance, police sirens occasionally. No matter where you're at, having these ambient noises would add to the chaos and destruction, and this would be a really good improvement as well. And there's just mindless undead walking throughout an entire city. It's completely completely a beautiful idea. But I'd like to get into my next point anyway, which is if the map and level design is changing, that's kind of a good indication that the puzzles are going to be changed as well. So as anybody who is a hardcore fan of the Resident Evil franchise will know, it is very well known for its elaborate and complex puzzles. Now as the games have developed a franchise, I will say over time the puzzles have got less complex and almost being absent from some games, but it makes me wonder how that will change Remake 2. Now I doubt they will go for the original puzzle combinations, if even utilizing the same puzzles at all, and like I said, to the additional map designs, if they add anything you will obviously have to expect some additional new puzzles. So what will the complexity be like? I mean, you could take it either way. Capcom could keep with the old style and make the puzzles extremely complex and difficult, but they could also appeal to that casual audience and make these a lot more easier. I know a lot of people were not thrilled with the puzzles in Resident Evil 7 and found them to be of no difficulty at all really. There might have been a few here and there, but for example the shadow puzzles were just ridiculously easy, and there was no real intelligent thought or creative process you had to go through to figure them out. It was more just kind of fidgeting with it until it kind of slid in, and that sounded really whatever. Anyway guys, like I said, I do think the puzzles will change, and I'd like to hear your thoughts about that anyway, because it could go either way. They could either be easier or more difficult. But I'm just really hyped to see Raccoon City anyway, and see what kind of new changes they add to it. Will we have additional areas to visit? How much more complex are the environments going to be? How are the puzzles going to change? These are all relevant things. I'll be covering a lot more video material on Remake 2, and I'm really thinking that something will be released at TGS, but keep your fingers crossed for that, because Capcom could miss another opportunity. Anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you want, you can come join the Discord server. It is in the description, and we have a very friendly community. If you want to follow my Twitter to stay up to date, that would be great as well. And if you just enjoyed the video, please leave a like and a subscribe. And as always, have a beautiful day, take it easy, and you put the on the chain wax.